What's up, guys, and welcome back to my channel. Ilia has revealed a potential timeline for his next fight, and it has sparked plenty of discussion. With everything going on in Ilia's life, the timing of his UFC return has felt unpredictable. He has not competed since last June, when he defeated Charles Oliveira and captured the lightweight title in emphatic fashion. Since then, personal circumstances, including a high-profile divorce, have complicated plans, while the division has continued to move forward without him. In his absence, Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett are scheduled to clash for an interim lightweight title on January 24th, a matchup designed to keep the belt active. Because of that situation, some fans began to wonder whether Ilia might not return until late 2026, especially with no official announcement from the promotion. That speculation shifted after Ilia posted a message on X, confidently stating that the award for the best knockout of the year in 2026 would also be his. A fan quickly asked when he planned to fight again, and Ilia replied with a clear window, saying April to June. When another fan followed up by asking whether he would be facing Arman, Ilia shut that down and instead pointed to the winner between Paddy and Justin. The timeline he shared is intriguing. If the Gaethje versus Pimblett winner comes out healthy, an April return seems realistic. At the same time, there is talk that the UFC could prefer Ilia to headline a major White House-themed card in June, making that date just as likely. Ilia also fired back at online chatter involving Islam Makhachev. After a fan claimed Islam would submit him if they ever fought, Ilia responded bluntly, saying not even in his dreams, adding that he is bad even at dreaming. The message reinforced confidence and kept fans buzzing. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to help support the channel. Moving on to another news, the MMA community was rocked on Friday after alarming rumors began circulating about Khamzat. Reports spread rapidly online, claiming that the UFC middleweight champion had been involved in a serious car accident. As the story gained traction, whispers escalated into far more disturbing claims, with some posts even suggesting that Khamzat had lost his life. Naturally, fans around the world feared the worst as confusion and panic set in. The initial reports appeared to stem from information shared by the NISO movement. According to those claims, Adam Kadyrov, the son of Chechnya's head, had been hospitalized in Grozny after a violent car accident left him in critical condition. The reports allege that Kadyrov's motorcade had been traveling at high speed when it struck an obstacle, triggering a chain reaction crash involving multiple vehicles. As the story spread, Khamzat's name somehow became linked to the incident, despite no confirmed connection. As speculation continued to spiral, MMA outlet Red Corner MMA stepped in to clarify the situation. Posting an update on X, the page addressed the viral claims that emerged on Friday regarding Khamzat supposedly suffering severe injuries in a car crash in Chechnya. Some of the rumors went as far as describing the incident as fatal, which only intensified concern across the MMA world. To get definitive answers, Red Corner MMA contacted Khamzat's manager, Mahdi Shamas, directly. Shamas firmly denied the reports and made it clear that the information being shared was completely false. According to him, Khamzat was not in Chechnya at the time of the alleged accident and had no involvement whatsoever in any crash. Shamas explained that Khamzat is currently in Abu Dhabi, UAE, and is in perfect health. He emphasized that there was no truth to the rumors and urged fans not to believe unverified reports circulating on social media. His message was simple and direct, stating that Khamzat is 100% healthy and safe. With that confirmation, the frightening rumors have now been put to rest. The situation serves as another reminder of how quickly misinformation can spread online, especially when it involves high-profile fighters. Thankfully, in this case, the news ends on a positive note, with Khamzat safe, healthy, and continuing his preparations away from the chaos of online speculation. Moving on to another news, Merab has revealed that he accepted a grappling match against Arman, and the story is wild. Arman recently moved up in weight to face Shara Magomedov in a grappling bout just a few weeks ago, once again proving why he is such a problem on the mat. However, before that matchup was finalized, Arman nearly ended up facing a much smaller opponent. In a recent interview, Merab explained that he actually received a late call to grapple Arman at the same event. At the time, there was concern that Shara might be out of the match, and the organizers were scrambling for a replacement. According to Merab, they told him that Arman's opponent had pulled out or was not coming, and that there were only a few days left, around 3 to 5 days, before the event. Merab said he took it as a personal challenge and immediately accepted the idea. He confidently claimed there was no chance Arman would beat him under those conditions. After looking over the rules and seeing it was a submission-only format, Merab felt even more confident, saying Arman would have no way to submit him. Motivated by the challenge, Merab went straight back to training the very next day. Unfortunately, that is when things fell apart. His nose opened up again during training, forcing him to step away and ultimately decline the match. That injury was the sole reason the grappling clash never happened, leaving fans with a massive what-if scenario moment. Moving on to another news. Dustin Poirier has finally explained the real reason he chose not to stand and trade with Max Holloway after the now iconic point-down moment. Speaking on a recent UFC show alongside several legendary fighters, Poirier opened up about what was going through his head in those final seconds and why he resisted the urge to fully engage. According to Poirier, he knew the moment was coming. When Max started pointing to the canvas, Dustin immediately became aware of the situation and focused on the clock. He explained that the first thing he did was check how much time was left, making sure there were only around 10 seconds remaining. He admitted that he did not hear the clap at first and wanted to be absolutely certain before committing to anything risky. Poirier revealed that his hesitation was heavily influenced by advice from his wife the night before the fight. She specifically told him that if his opponent pointed down, he should not feel pressured to do the same. That advice stuck with him in the heat of the moment. As he recalled it, he even thought about Justin Gaethje and past moments where things went wrong after fighters decided to brawl late. He said he remembered her words clearly, telling him not to point down and not to follow if the other guy did it. Poirier emphasized that listening to her was the smart move, even if fans expected a wild exchange. When Max started pointing, Dustin double-checked the clock again to make sure there were not 15 or 20 seconds left. In his mind, he was only willing to open up for a very short window. Once they did engage, Poirier admitted that Max began lighting him up in the pocket. That close range is normally where Dustin does his best work, but he acknowledged that Max was faster, sharp, and completely ready for that moment. As the shots came in, Poirier made the decision to clinch instead of continuing to trade. Looking back, Poirier said Max was throwing fast and hard, and it felt crazy in real time. He went into the fight believing he was ready for that moment as well. But in the end, discipline, awareness, and listening to the boss kept him from making a costly mistake in those final seconds. Moving on to another news, a potential interim title fight is being discussed following the unfortunate update surrounding UFC 324. With Kayla Harrison no longer able to face Amanda Nunes on the card, Norma Dumont's team is pushing for a new direction. Dumont's coach, Diego Lima, is calling on the UFC to book Amanda Nunes versus Norma Dumont for an interim belt, arguing that it is the most logical move for the division. Speaking recently with MMA Fighting, Lima laid out his reasoning and made it clear that he does not believe the division should be put on hold because of an injury. He said the only fight that truly makes sense right now is Norma versus Amanda, adding that freezing an entire weight class benefits no one. According to him, the best option is to let the division continue to move forward, especially when there are multiple fighters chasing their dreams and working toward a title opportunity. Lima also pointed out the uncertainty surrounding Kayla's recovery timeline. He explained that no one knows how long she will be sidelined, noting that it could be 6 months, a full year, or even longer. From his perspective, leaving contenders inactive while waiting for one fighter to heal does not serve the athletes or the sport. For some added context, Norma Dumont is currently riding a 6-fight win streak and is coming off a split decision victory over Irene Aldana in November. She is ranked number 3 in the bantamweight division and has quietly built a strong case as a legitimate title contender through consistent performances and steady improvement. The bigger question is whether Amanda Nunes would be interested in fighting for an interim belt at this stage of her career. Nunes came out of retirement specifically to face Kayla Harrison, making it unclear if an interim title bout against Dumont aligns with her original plan. Even so, the situation has opened the door for debate. Adding another layer to the conversation, speculation around Kayla's long-term future has been growing. Because of the nature of her injury and the fact that she turned 36 in July, questions have started to circulate about how sustainable her run at bantamweight really is. Recently, comments posted on Chris Cyborg's social media suggested that Kayla may be more durable at 145 and that repeated cuts to 135 might not be sustainable over time. Those same comments also floated the idea that in boxing, Amanda Nunes might have taken a tune-up fight to shake off retirement before jumping straight into elite competition. With Kayla now out, The suggestion is that Amanda could benefit from a full training camp and a fight to remove any ring rust before Kayla eventually returns, keeping the division active and the stakes high. Moving on to another news, Joe Rogan has once again sparked debate after openly criticizing the UFC's fighter pay and overall structure during a recent episode of the JRE. Rogan explained that if he were running the promotion, he would completely disrupt the current business model because he believes fighters deserve significantly more money. According to him, higher pay would be a priority, even if it meant cutting into profits and upsetting the established system. Rogan went on to say that money would not be the only thing he would change. He admitted that his ideas would likely make him a terrible businessman, but they would align more with his vision of fairness and realism in fighting. One of his more radical suggestions involved removing the cage entirely. Rogan argued that the cage often acts as an advantage for fighters, allowing them to use it to stand back up when they would otherwise be stuck on the ground. Instead, he suggested placing fighters on mats in the middle of a basketball court, removing any walls or barriers. In his view, this setup would be more realistic, as fighters would not be able to rely on a foreign object to help them escape bad positions. He explained that when you are in the center of an open mat, getting back to your feet becomes far more difficult, especially against a strong grappler. Rogan also shared his thoughts on how rounds should be restarted. He believes that fights should resume exactly where the previous round ended, rather than resetting fighters to a standing position. From his perspective, a fight is one continuous contest, not 5 separate fights stitched together. Restarting every round on the feet, in his opinion, completely changes the dynamic and rewards fighters who survive until the bell. During the conversation, Rogan even joked that the UFC would probably go out of business quickly if he implemented all of his ideas. He acknowledged that long stretches of ground control could dominate fights under this system, potentially leading to slower and less exciting bouts for casual fans. While many listeners agreed with him on the issue of fighter pay, noting that paying athletes more would not destroy the company, others were far more critical of his proposed rule changes. Restarting rounds on the ground would likely result in overwhelming control time for elite grapplers, with opponents struggling to escape for entire fights. In the end, Rogan's comments highlighted a familiar divide. Increasing fighter pay is widely supported, even if it slightly reduces profits. However, altering the structure of fights so dramatically would fundamentally change the sport, shifting it toward prolonged grappling dominance and away from the balance that currently keeps most UFC bouts competitive and entertaining. Moving on to another news, Nick Diaz is officially off the market, as the Stockton native has reportedly married his longtime partner. After a turbulent and very public year, the news caught many fans by surprise and quickly spread across the MMA community. Over the past year, Nick largely stayed out of the spotlight amid reports that he spent time in a rehabilitation facility in Mexico. During that period, a troubling video surfaced online that raised serious concerns about his mental health and overall well-being. The situation quickly became complicated when longtime coach Cesar Gracie publicly blamed Nick's girlfriend, Kayla, suggesting she contributed to his struggles at the time. Tensions escalated further when Kayla alleged that members of Nick's inner circle, including his cousin, his brother Nate Diaz, and his coach, transported him across the border against his will. In response, Gracie accused Kayla of attempting to gain control over Nick's property and finances. Nick later denied those claims, pushing back against the accusations and attempting to clear the air surrounding the situation. Since resurfacing publicly, reports also emerged suggesting friction between Nick, Nate Diaz, and parts of his longtime coaching team. The uncertainty around his personal life, health, and future only added to the concern many fans felt for one of MMA's most iconic figures. Now, however, Nick has surprised everyone once again with a far more positive update. News of his marriage first surfaced after an MMA news outlet shared a video on social media. Former ex-user ACD MMA posted footage along with a caption celebrating the moment, revealing that Nick married his longtime girlfriend Kayla in Las Vegas last week. The post also noted that Nick recently completed rehab and has now celebrated 1 full year of sobriety. In the video, he appears relaxed, smiling, and in good spirits alongside his new wife. The caption ended on a hopeful note, calling it great news and congratulating Mr. and Mrs. Diaz. After months of uncertainty and controversy, the marriage marks a significant personal milestone for Nick Diaz. For many fans, seeing him healthy, sober, and seemingly happy is a welcome and encouraging development, offering a rare feel-good moment in what has been a long and complicated chapter of his life. Moving on to another news, The UFC has revealed a brand new main event, continuing its steady rollout of fights for the promotion's first quarter schedule this year. It was recently confirmed that Kevin Vallejos will headline his first UFC event, as the fast-rising featherweight has been booked to face longtime contender Josh Emmett in the main event of the March 14th Vegas card. Vallejos is coming off an impressive 2025 campaign, which also marked his rookie year in the UFC. The Argentinian standout scored a dominant finish of Choi Sung-woo, followed by a hard-fought decision win over Danny Silva, before closing out the year with a highlight reel spinning back fist knockout of Giga Chikadze. That run quickly pushed him into the rankings and turned him into one of the division's most talked about prospects. On the other side, Emmett had a difficult 2025, coming up short in both of his appearances. He first dropped a decision loss to Lerone Murphy, and later suffered a submission defeat to Youssef Zalal. Despite those setbacks, Emmett remains a dangerous veteran with proven knockout power and years of experience at the top level. Heading into this matchup, Vallejos currently sits at number 13 in the featherweight rankings, while the 40-year-old Emmett holds the number 12 spot. Given where both men are in their careers, this main event represents a major opportunity for the rising contender, and a crucial test for the seasoned veteran looking to reassert himself in the title picture and stay relevant in a rapidly evolving division, making it a compelling and meaningful headliner for the March Vegas card that could reshape the featherweight landscape moving forward, with serious implications for rankings, momentum, and future matchmaking across the UFC. Fans will be watching closely as both athletes chase momentum, redemption, and long-term relevance under the bright lights. Moving on to another news, Darren Till went off on MMA Guru in a heated rant on X. Till responded after being called a mess for refusing to appear on an interview. He fired back, saying he did not join because he was busy and does not dance to anyone's drum. Till mocked MMA Guru repeatedly, throwing insults and warning him to watch himself. He also defended his fighting ability, claiming that any striker sent his way would not last with him. Till ended the rant by flipping the narrative, insisting that being labeled a mess does not reflect his confidence or readiness to fight.